There's this guy Hamza on the internet. He's a pretty motivational guy. His whole shtick is about self-improvement, but he has a very black and white opinion of things. He sort of looks at things as good and bad, which it is exceptionally rare that there is anything that is directly good or bad. It is always a gray area. And this recent video, I think, really dictates that. So I just wanted to talk about it and show a little bit of what I disagree with.
Please have mercy, Jeffrey. Jeffrey is a blood-hungry warlord. Everyone respects him. Everyone looks up to him. His kill count is in the hundreds. But that's in the virtual world. But in the real world, Jeffrey is a loser. He's weak, he's lazy, and he's undisciplined. He got poor grades in school. He has a job that he doesn't even like.
So clearly, what he's arguing against here is the absolute extreme of gamers, where, they spend 20 hours a day playing World of Warcraft or whatever, and they still live in their mom's basement. But, I'm not gonna say that that's a good thing. That's just not healthy behavior. But at the end of this bit, he talks about a 9 to 5, or at least he portrays that, and I don't see why he shows that as a bad thing. That's someone making money, and it's also sort of ignorant that it doesn't consider the fact that not everyone has the money or the intelligence to actually go to university to try to get a better job. That's not the main focus of the video, so I'm not going to argue too much against him there, but it is just a point that I disagree with.
A bunch of these excuses that they throw out, like, oh, the storytelling, and it's good for your memory, and like, oh, but I enjoy it, and time spent in enjoyment is not time wasted. All this fucking bullshit, bro. It is a waste of time.
But why is that bullshit? I don't understand. I feel like doing something you enjoy is not at all something that you should be ashamed of. Joe Rogan said the same thing months ago, basically implying that everything that you do has to be productive, which is completely absurd. If you don't rest at some point, you're going to go insane. You're going to be some Patrick Bateman running around killing people. In moderation, there is nothing wrong with sitting around and relaxing sometimes. Watching a movie. Is watching a movie a waste of time based on the same principle then? That because you're sitting down and not actively making money or bettering yourself, that it's completely worthless? No, of course not. No one says that. That is only said about video games because it is an easy target. Because there's this stereotype that people who play video games are overweight and sweaty. But if not that, then why is it not wrong for him to sit down every day in front of a monitor to make a video every single day? That is the same thing, if not spending more time there. The point does not make sense to me.
Why did I spend hundreds of hours leveling up my strength skill on RuneScape instead of spending those hundreds of hours leveling up my strength in real life?
I think a better question is, why do you have this misconception that you are not able to do both? You do have to rest in between workout sessions, or your muscles are not going to grow at all. You're just going to exhaust yourself from overworking. If you take it too far and don't rest and just spend those several hours just constantly working out, you are going to kill yourself.
You may not have admitted it to yourself, but you really, really want to attract women. You want to have sex, you want to date, you want a girlfriend. Whilst your mind is always obsessed about having a gamer girlfriend, the truth is that the majority of women are unattracted to men who play video games.
Well, that explains why there has been porn music playing in the background of this entire video. And really, this doesn't make much sense. I've met people in my time on Earth, believe it or not, and never in my fucking life have I met a man who didn't play video games of some sort. So really, these most women who are not at all attracted to men who play video games are going to be hard pressed to find a man who does not dabble in the controller and keyboard. I mean, if they really want to, I guess they could go off to some third world country where technology past the 1800s does not yet exist. But for some reason, I don't think that'll be happening. The issue with men who can't find girlfriends is not video games. That is not where the problem lies.
Now, of course, you shouldn't change the things that you enjoy just to impress someone, but relationships are like the most important part of life. You would feel so much happier and excited about being yourself if you had like a beautiful girl that you were dating. You shouldn't quit playing video games just to impress a woman. You should quit playing them to impress yourself.
Okay, so he followed up his last point with immediately directly contradicting what he just said about quitting playing video games because it'll help you get in a relationship. He then says, "Don't quit playing video games to help you get in a relationship," which is I that's just kind of funny, honestly. And the bit about impressing yourself, I don't see how quitting playing video games is going to do that. I see impressing myself as like, oh, I increased how much I can bench. That's impressive. I don't see it as like, dang, I quit doing something that I enjoyed doing. I must be really cool or something.
So that you have more time to do like productive, cool like lift some weights, learn skills like sales, make a business. It's those things that attract women and even friends to you.
Again, I really don't see why you can't do both. You can play video games and also dedicate time to being productive.
You might not want to quit playing video games because most of your friends play and you all hop on Discord together and you have a good time. This is gonna hurt to hear, but I made a video titled, "They're Not Your Friends." Unless you've both opened up and you've been vulnerable and emotional together and you feel like a very strong connection and brotherhood between you, it's usually not real friendship. That's gonna be so hard for you to believe.
Now, this might be hard for you to believe, but there are people out there who just aren't very emotional people who don't like to get close in that aspect. Look, it's obviously unhealthy to play video games and sit around all day. No one is arguing against that point, but at the same time, this doesn't mean you have to completely quit and never touch this thing like it's a completely addictive drug that's gonna kill you. All right, like it's not heroin, it's Call of Duty. It's not a big deal. And that doesn't necessarily make someone else better than someone who does play video games simply because they spent that time doing something else. It doesn't really matter what. I mean, you look at people like Dr. Disrespect, Nick Merckx, Tyler One. They're playing video games for hours a day, and do they look like they don't have time to go to the gym or do other productive things? No. They look like they're getting in shape perfectly fine and doing everything they need to, despite the fact that they play video games. I do have a lot of respect for Hamza, and I think a lot of things that he says are really good. They're intelligent things that people should listen to. But taking statements at a black and white value when they really fall into a gray area is not exactly a healthy way to look at the world. That's what orthorexia is with food. Everything just has to be done with moderation. And that's exactly how it works with video games as well. So people who enjoy them can play them, and people who don't like video games don't have to. Overall, self-improvement is a really good thing to look into, and if quitting video games is something that works for people and makes them feel better as though they have improved themselves, then they can do that. And if not, then it doesn't matter. You can keep playing video games, and you're just as self-improved as anybody else.